far the most played, most recorded piece ever, well, since it was written in the early 1900s, called Syrinx by Claude Debussy. It's kind of an enigmatic piece because, well, I've had two teachers that told me different stories about how it originated. One was a student of Moïse, and Moïse said that Debussy once was at a party, and somebody asked him to write something, and he just scribbled something down, and Moïse played it, and then Fleury, remember Fleury and Moïse? Fleury stole it, and then wrote in that it was dedicated to him, and then played it for until he died, and then his widow gave it to a publisher, and the publisher then asked Moïse to edit it, and Moïse edited, put in bar lines, put in breath marks, that type of thing. That's one story. The other story is that none of that happened at all, that whatsoever. That it's written as an incidental piece for a play called Psyché by Mouret, I believe. It tells the story of Syrinx and Pan. Pan was half human from the waist up and half goat from the waist down, and he was quite the ladies' man. If you've seen goats, you might know why. Anyway, he fell in love with Syrinx and chased her, and she pleaded to the gods to get rid of him. And they turned her into a bed of reeds, and then he heard the air across the reeds, and he cut them down and made the first pan pipe, or also called syrinx in English, syrinx. So that's where it comes from. The thing about Moïse's story is that there was some controversy about when this piece was played in the play. And everybody thought it was when Pan dies. Now in the myth, Pan doesn't die. I tried to find the text of the play, but I can't find it. The manuscript was found a number of years ago, and Moïse said, no, it wasn't played when the Pan dies, and again in the myth, Pan doesn't die. There's a time in the play where he says, oh, listen, there's some music, and then that music was played. And they found the manuscript, and Moïse's story, at least that part, was confirmed by the manuscript. So this even makes it more mysterious about where this piece comes from. Anyway, it was unlikely, again, Debussy supposedly had a reputation of being extremely meticulous about his compositions and would change things all the time. So it's sort of unlike his character just to sit down at a party and write something out for the flute. But in doing so, no matter where this comes from, this created a new genre for flute, in the fact that it's unaccompanied. And that seems kind of strange to us today because we think of all the Baroque pieces that are unaccompanied, but they were not rediscovered until much later than the 1924 or whatever. The Bach Partita in A minor was a previous piece written for unaccompanied flute about 150 years ago, and that was rediscovered in like 1960. So in a way, this created a new genre of flute music. And since this unaccompanied piece, there's just been scores of pieces written for unaccompanied flute. The thing about this piece, I just find it extremely difficult. I mean, you look at the piece, and the notes are not necessarily difficult, but you go to YouTube and you hear dozens of versions. I've listened to many, many versions. I've played it a number of times, and I never feel like anybody gets it exactly right. Maybe it's one of these things. Well, maybe it's just one of the things that's impossible. So anyway, I'll do my best, and we'll see how it goes. Syrinx by Claude Debussy.